Are you a book with magic? Harry Potter. Hello! Welcome to our YouTube chapter.
Yeah.
Again. We're here to talk about another book.
Yeah. Before we do that, let's do a quick 30
chapters.
30 chapters of check-in on your life.
Yeah, I love it. Not my life.
Not
my
your
books.
life. Your book.
My book reading.
30-second check-in of what you've been reading since our last video, other than this book, of course.
I loved Beach Read. I just read Beach Read. It was so good. Emily Henry. Oh. I have like so much love for the way that she writes. So quirky and just the like charming little like feel good romance that I needed. Mm-hmm. I got it as a book gift that was like ferried to me. Not the ferry like the boat, but like
I mean maybe.
One eternity later.
I'm in a group on Facebook where on Wednesdays people go through each other's Amazon wish lists and then send a surprise book to each other, which is just so funny. So people
pleasant.
are like, it's so pleasant. And so people are like each other's book fairies. And so I had a book fairy get me Beach Read. And so long story short, really a lot of talking, story short, Beach Read was my favorite one that I've read. My least favorite that I read was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is a really popular one on TikTok and Instagram. And I don't know why. It sucked.
Gave you the ick deep in your soul.
So deep in my soul. The worst iteration of like sex scenes literally ever.
Haunts you.
It haunts me.
Yeah.
I didn't fully finish it. The first 85% is bad. So
not much hope for the last 15.
No, not at all. What about you?
My favorites since our last video, I think, were the Heartstopper graphic novels. They're just so stinking pleasant, and I've been kind of going through it the past month, so it was nice to read something just like nice.
Oh, it's like
pleasant.
A hug. Those books
it's like
are
a hug.
So good.
Yeah. My least favorite is also like a book talk fave. I didn't love Mexican Gothic. I think most horror books are just vibes for 80% of the book and no substance, which I think was true to Mexican Gothic. Even though like her writing is really pretty, she wasn't writing really about anything except bad vibes. And then the explanation for the bad vibes is just like nonsense. I've literally never been so angry at like a plot twist. I was like, I read all of this for that. Those were my reads. I've read quite a lot since our last bit.
You read so fast. She's zooming all the time. You were reading like literally a storm.
This book was book 80 for the year.
Holy crow.
But this is the last book I read.
That's amazing. This is not the last book that I read, but this is the one that we're going to talk about today.
It's Magic, Steep, and Poison by Judy Lynn. It has the most beautiful cover on earth.
I actually think that that's pretty much mostly the reason why we chose this book.
Yeah, we were like, it's about magic and tea and fantasy, which we both like all those things.
Yep.
And it's very pretty. And it's kind of like a debut.
I also think like we wanted to... Early on, we were like, okay, like we don't want to become a YouTube channel that like only talks about like fluffy romance novels.
That's
like
true.
we want to do like a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of YA stuff, a little bit of thriller, a little bit of all these types of things because we read a lot of
like a variety
multi-genre, right? So we both found this one and we were like, this is really nice. Let's talk about it. Okay, do you want to give us a synopsis first? Randy has got the most detailed notes. Swap. The most detailed notes. You've like read this more recently than I have. Full disclosure, this was a book I read during wisdom teeth recovery. So honestly, my recollection of it is like I think pretty good considering.
But you were still like drugged up.
But I'm like, did I imagine this scene, or is this like what actually happened? Synopsis. Right. Hit us with the synopsis.
The story follows Ning. She is the daughter of a Shenong-shi, which is like a master of magical tea making. So in this world, there's kind of like normal physicians. Mm-hmm. Every time I hear the word physician, I saw a meme of Snoop Dogg, and he's like, physician. And I can't not think of that.
It's just like a doctor, Randy.
Yeah, I know, but I think of the Snoop Dogg.
Physician.
There's physicians, and then there's Shenong-shis, which are like kind of magical healers. They heal through tea in this kind of like magical capacity.
So like a doctor and a naturopath.
There's more magic in the naturopath.
Yeah, magicopath.
Sure. Ning's sister, Shu, has been poisoned by this, like...
She poisoned her.
Well...
That's important.
She brewed tea that...
her mother and murdered her mother.
Okay, but that, like, here's... I'm gonna get into this later.
Refresh.
Her sister has been poisoned. There's these kind of poisoned tea leaves going around. She brewed the tea that poisoned her sister, also poisoned her mother, and her mother passed away from this. Sister is still alive. So she...
dying slowly.
And
Very
suffering.
sad.
She enters a competition to become Shenongshi at the palace. She's not a full-fledged Shenongshi. She's not even technically the apprentice, because her sister would have been the apprentice to her mother. But she kind of sneaks in anyways, because the prize is kind of a favor from the princess. Ning believes that this, like, myth that the princess has a stone that can cure all, like the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, Harry Potter crossover. Are you a book with magic? Harry Potter.
Yeah, I just feel like Harry Potter is, like, so many people's, like, baseline for magical YA books.
Yeah.
So she goes to the palace, she's gonna enter this competition. She gets there and she kind of finds out life in the palace politically is not what it looks like from the outside. There's a lot of political drama. She meets a mysterious boy at the market, and he is actually like the exiled, or the son of the exiled general, and he might be coming back to like overthrow the government. There's all this stuff. She kind of gets stuck between like trying to win this competition and also like stuck between the threads of this boy that she's very interested in and the princess who's just like kind of just trying to run her country. She's like a 19-year-old princess, and the emperor's been like missing for months and stuff like
Wouldn't
this.
that be wild? Can you imagine that responsibility? Yeah, I could not even imagine. And at 19 years old.
Yeah.
I guess we'll jump into it. And from here...
Spoilers!
I used to smack you.
Spoilers!
We also like... I want to say, like, we're dressed the same. And this was not something that we did on purpose.
No.
At all.
No.
One bit.
No.
I...
She walked in my house and I was like...
This is ridiculous. Like, even the buns. Like, I don't know what... We had the same... We're on,
Same
like,
brain.
This is like, we are in the magical tea plateau.
We're in the shift.
And we're like, we knew. Your buns are my
I
buns.
stole
and my buns
your
are your
outfit
buns.
from
These
the
are
magical
literally
world.
the same overalls in different colors.
We're silly, silly women.
Silly women. We poured ourselves tea, which
did.
is pretty sick. It's actually quite good.
It is.
Yeah. Nice, like, iced tea. It's 1,000 degrees here.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
it's
hot.
with us. If you zoom in on this video, you'd be like...
It's just glistening.
glistening. What did you like about the book?
The two main things that like really brought this book to life is like her writing of environments and descriptions and food and like the smell of tea, all stunning. I feel like it really puts you there. Like her writing is gorgeous when she's writing about environments and stuff.
Totally.
I also think the magic in this world is just like, I think it must have been her first kind of thought is like, what if making tea was like this really magical art form? Because that feels like by far the most developed part of the book. So in the book, these Shenongshi, they brew tea with like special ingredients. They have to be like connected to the person they're brewing with. People who are like true masters can enter this place called the Shift. And like, if you had an illness in this like alternate dimension, the Shift, like that illness has like a physical form that she can like grab and like
we could
wrangle.
come into the Shift and you could pull my wisdom teeth right
out
out
of
of my
your
mouth.
Yes.
All of a sudden, then you would have 3 extra wisdom teeth, and then you'd be like,
Yeah. And then
here are your wisdom teeth. Out of your mouth and also my mouth.
yes, Ning takes on some of the like pain and experience of the person that she's healing. The tea like drains her to like kind of heal other people.
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's very
the
cool.
Spark Notes version of how the magic works, but it's so good. I also think Lian, the best friend, in the competition, I just love their friendship. I think it was wholesome. Just 2 girls in this like competition full of gross guys, just trying to girl power their way. They're trying to girl boss, gatekeep, and gaslight their way to the top.
And it could be just like the lots of thriller novels that I've been taking in lately, but for whatever reason, I did not trust that best friend. I was like, she is going to betray you. Watch your back. But she didn't. In some ways, I was like, oh, that wasn't like the payoff that I wanted. But yeah, I was really expecting her to kind of like betray her in some way, especially because she had so many connections in the palace. Like she knew a lot of people. I really thought that she was going to kind of fold on our main character. But I didn't care that much about our main character. She was like pretty inconsistent, I feel like, in the way she's described. Like sometimes she's described as kind of like small and like docile. She comes from a family where like dad's a physician. Dad's a physician, mom's a Shenangshi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her sister's kind of following in her mom's footsteps, and she's kind of like quietly following in her dad's footsteps, even though she wants to also be a Shenangshi, but she's sort of like the black sheep of the family a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of the shy, like underdog kind of one, right? So sometimes she's described as that. Sometimes she has just like absolutely girl boss moments.
Yeah,
where
she's like
stands up for herself and is kind of prickly and
good.
And
I feel like there's moments where she's really quite abrasive to people. Like even when she's flirting with Buddy Guy, Kang. When she's flirting with him, there's one point where he's like, I forget what he says, but she like takes a packet of coins and she like whips them at his face, and she's like, I wouldn't bet against me. And I was like, she's a bit, but then it's like earlier she's like in the market and she's like rescuing some orphan boy.
So the market scene, if you've read this book, I really felt like this was the plot of Aladdin.
At least like this scene.
In the market, Kang, who is like son of the general, who's been exiled to wherever, banished, whatever.
Yeah.
He's in the market kind of slumming it, pretending that he's just like some old guy, right? And he like witnesses our main character, Ning, this really like altruistic moment where she like sees a little boy reaching for an apple because he's hungry, and she like gives him an apple. And I was like, literally this happens in Aladdin, like this exact scene. I was like, am I imagining this? Yeah, he's slumming it like he's like just like, you know, farm boy, not farm market boy, but he's really like secretly kind of a prince,
and like quite important, because a lot of the politics of this come into play with like the emperor hasn't been seen for a while. The princess is kind of like running the show. Mm-hmm. This Kang guy, he might have like a claim to the throne. So there's worries that he's like kind of trying to topple the government essentially and take over, which is not ideal if you're running a kingdom. No. Believe it or not.
There's a lot happening and there's a lot of characters. And I had a hard time like really caring a lot. Inconsistent main character. When I don't really care about the main character, it's hard for me to like care about their love story. And I know this is not a romance novel, but I didn't find myself like really rooting for them to work out. I was like,
romance was very like insta-lovey, and then like 2 minutes later she's like, you betrayed me, and I was like, you don't know him. She didn't even know his name the first time she got pissed off at him for betraying her.
There was a part in time in the book where I was like, have I missed a whole lot of this book? I do feel like there was not a lot of time for them to establish an actual relationship of caring. They talk about how when they go to the kind of shift or whatever, when she's like healing somebody of something, or like in the case of their first experience of like with the tea, it was her trying to get him to tell her the truth about something, right?
No, that's the second time. The first time is like the golden leaf after the boy. And then the second time she brews the truth potion.
But like
the
there is like some kind of like sort of connection that's forged between two people when they like are in that shifty zone with each other, right? But like being told that is not enough. Like you have to show me that their relationship builds, 100%. Right?
And I think also there's other characters in the book that she goes into the shift with, and it's not like now we're instantly in love.
Yeah, this is connected. My soulmate now. We're tethered by the tea.
Because they do it with like the princess's guard / lover. It doesn't come out of it being like, now I'll marry you.
There's a series of challenges. So like as she goes to the palace, they go and do like a number of challenges to sort of knock out challenges from the competition. It's actually like pretty cutthroat. I feel like the first one, they're like, if your ingredients are not up to snuff, like goodbye.
You're out of here.
Which is crazy because it's not the ingredients that do it. I feel like that's a huge point of the book later on, is like I feel like that I wasn't like rattled by that, because I was like, man, classic. I was initially, but now that we're talking about it, I'm like, oh.
Nah, I'm like, classic.
Plot folds in on itself.
Classist governments, man. It tracks.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
There is one challenge where they have to, probably my favorite and most memorable one is the one where they have to sort of trick a bird. There's a bird that basically tracks poison and like knows to not eat something that's poisoned, or like warns you if something's poisoned so that you don't drink it or eat it or whatever else.
It can like detect like the slightest poison. Like if you're going to eat a berry that might like roughly upset your tummy, like the bird won't touch it.
Right. And so there's this part in the competition where they're like, okay, our competitors need to brew something, do something to make the bird eat this little like poisoned larva.
Yeah.
Convince it to eat it even though it in its nature will not.
Yeah.
And then heal it of the poison. And I'm like, she's connecting with the bird and not. She's not in love with the bird.
Yeah.
There's
That'd be a real plot twist.
That would be a real plot twist. That's like B-movie.
There's just like some inconsistencies throughout the book, like with the characters, but also plot things that felt like characters were kind of given a capacity, or it like, was like roughly mentioned before just for like the ease of like being able to pass something later. So this character has like a bomb power where she can like tell what plants are like thinking and what they need and stuff. Like she walks through the forest and the plants are all like, hey, hey, give me water, please, or whatever, you know, which seems like it would be really useful for someone who's like gathering tea ingredients and stuff, but it's kind of not.
Maybe not for another job, but definitely for brewing tea.
Yeah. Like, and it's kind of just roughly passed over right up until like there's this moment in the competition where she has to like find a pearl that's like hidden inside a flower. And then the flowers are just like, hey, I got a little pearl for you. Got a cute little present. You want it? And then all the other people are struggling and she's just like, hey, suckers.
Actually, talking about it now, I'm like, there are quite a few places where I feel like the plot kind of folds in on itself. Like, that's a thing where it's like, if you had a daughter who was like, I can talk to plants.
Yeah.
That might be the daughter to choose to be your apprentice.
Yeah.
And like, whatever with the other one.
Yeah,
right?
honestly.
You're going to choose
Go
the
be a physician.
the herbalist daughter. It may have fallen a bit flat for me.
It's like the book, I wanted it to almost be more about the competition than it was. And I wanted like through the competition for like this political stuff to kind of be revealed. But I feel like a lot of the political stuff that was revealed because she was like sneaking around the kitchens and stuff, like just chilling with people and got put into weird situations because people kept thinking she was a servant, which I'm also like, aren't all these like people aware of who she is? She's in like a very public competition.
Yeah, super public. Yeah. It just seems like really odd. If I'm trying to put that same sort of spin on another popular kind of competition book, if I'm thinking about like The Hunger Games as an example, and like Katniss Everdeen is like on the off time when she's like not being groomed to be in the arena, she's like chummy with like the kitchen staff. It just doesn't make any sense. They're like, you are part of this thing.
Yeah, but everyone's just like, oh, it's fine. Tell her to knead bread. And then they're like, oh, we need a servant to go deliver things to the judges.
That
and
was
then
so bizarre.
That's how it comes to be that there's like obvious nepotism in the competition and like things are very obviously kind of like rigged against her and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to learn those things, but the way we went about it, I think was a bit bizarre. A decent level of the actual like political stuff that I think is just like a little like, boom. It's just over my head. Okay, one thing that I didn't understand. So again, we said there's spoilers, so I'm spoiling things.
Get out of here!
Get out of here! The emperor that's been missing is just dead. Yeah. He's just been dead. The Kang guy tells us that.
Yeah.
And then like other people are like, maybe the emperor's dead. So then when they're like, the emperor's dead, it's like, yeah. Like, I don't care at this point.
Yeah,
I've already come to terms with it.
That could have been a really cool reveal.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Because, like,
right?
it comes out where she's, like, getting ready for a competition. She's, like, walking up, and someone comes running into the crowd and is like, the emperor's dead! And, like, if they had given us, like, no... Like, they told us, like, 3 times before that the emperor's probably dead. But it's, like, that could have been, like, such a moment where you're like, oh, damn, it is going down.
Yeah.
Like, we know that Kang's here and he might be overthrowing things. We know like, the princess is just trying to, like, figure things out. Yeah. We know that there's corrupt government officials. Now the emperor is dead and who's going to, like,
I feel like even, I mean, if we're gonna roll with the idea that she can just walk around the whole palace, like willy-nilly as a competitor and whatever, why doesn't she just like stumble on the emperor's corpse?
So one big thing with this book is like the ending, I think was like the ending made the book a bit better. Like I was like kind of through the book, I was like, I don't know if I'll read the sequel And
This is a sequel?
this is part 1 of a duology.
Well.
Got a sequel coming out next month, I think.
Wow, that soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's cranking them. Book kind of ends with Ning realizing that the general has been poisoning the tea, and he's been like giving his folks, his constituents, the antidote, which is like made with this particular pearl that is only fashionable for like his area. I don't remember where he is.
I feel like I only like vaguely remember this.
It was
I must
very
have
zoomy. It's
really
like the
been
last
drugged.
chapter.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has the antidote. She had like picked up a vial of it and had been just like kind of carrying it with her for the last few chapters. She gets home, sees her sister, they go into the shift, and she like removes the poison from her sister. In the shift, the poison is like a snake, a very scary, vipery, fangy snake.
Yeah.
When
Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets.
Harry Potter crossover.
When she comes out of the shift, she has like snake bites in her arm.
Does she not have like kind of like viney, like ropey black? I feel
Yeah.
like they do that in a lot of things. If somebody's poisoned or something, they have like
You
ropey
can
black
see it.
lines on them.
And the book ends with her like passing out. The end.
The end. I recall this now, and I was like, "What the heck?"
Well, extra jarring if you don't know there's a sequel.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
Yeah, so
no.
that's
Yeah.
extra jarring. But yeah, I think like I kind of expect this book to hopefully pick up with the sequel and like
Oh well,
fill
I know
in.
we'll read it.
Yeah, fill in some of those gaps that I was wanting from this book. What are your like final thoughts?
My final thoughts and sort of, I guess, recommendation would be like, this book is like really take or leave for me. I think like I will read the sequel, especially, and I will probably buy the sequel because if the cover is even half as nice. I will probably read the second one only because I've read the first one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, am I that invested? Do I care that much about the characters? Like,
Yeah.
medium. So like, I don't know. I'm
That's
kind
fair.
of mad about it. Really great, like, yeah, really great like world building, really great magic systems, really great descriptions. Very like flowery, kind of beautiful writing. Not writing that bothered me in any way. But I just was like it was just a bit flat.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's
So,
fair.
What about you?
I feel kind of the same. At points, it's definitely a great piece of art, but I think the story like kind of falls flat. Just because I think there's like some of those things that left me a little high and dry as a reader that I want more depth to beyond just like the actual descriptions of the place and the food.
Yeah.
And that. I would say that I probably would recommend this if you really like just really like beautiful, gorgeous writing. If you're invested at all in like Chinese mythology, which is what a lot of this book is based off of. It's like a debut novel also. So I also recognize like it's our first book. And maybe they'll just like keep getting better. And like I think as like a first book, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So does
Very
that...
like middle of the road.
Yeah.
So 3 is for us. What is
Yeah.
that?
Womp
Kinda
womp.
womp. Like
Womp
didn't
womp.
quite do exactly
Just fell
what we
short.
wanted it to do,
Yeah.
but like was fine.
Yeah.
Like it definitely was not a book that I at any point in time like didn't want to finish.
Yeah. That's true. I feel like it took me a long time to get through because I was like not invested in it, but
Yeah.
at no point was I was like,
I'm
I never had
DNF
the thought
this.
of like, I'm going to not even finish it.
Until I arrived here, had not picked a song. And so I really do think my song is like very like half baked. Like it's not really...
Like your opinion of the book. It's just kind
it
of
was
like,
just kind of like like I picked a song that I was like, okay, I felt one of the driving factors for the lead character is that she was like going to kind of like fight for her family and like fight to find an antidote for her sister. And it was like against all odds type of thing. So very like pop music-esque. I chose Stronger by Kelly Clarkson because it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger type of vibes. That was my pick. And I really do think that's a little bit of a cop-out because usually I think of these things ahead of time.
Yeah.
And if I really like a book or I really hate a book, it's easier to like attach things to it that way. I don't know. I had a really hard time finding one.
I kept saying that she needed to pick.
That girl is
I think that'd be great.
That would be very funny.
And
but
that
no.
would be the truest of all
I was like,
cop-outs.
absolutely not. I'm not doing it. I thought about Toxic by Britney Spears, actually.
Oh, that's funny. The Ken guy is a little toxic. He's kind of icky.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna marry my kind of cousin. The song that I chose is Pray, Empty Gun by Bishop Briggs.
Okay.
It has parentheses
Oh,
in the
wow.
name. I'm not just like...
That's how you know that it's really hip.
The first verse says, truth is like a loaded gun. You don't want to point that thing around here. It'll make all your skeletons disappear. This is real life. You've been living fictional. I don't want to hurt your heart, my dear, but if I gotta cut you, I will.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that fits.
I think that line of like, truth,
you win.
Yeah, truth is like a loaded gun and you don't want to like bring that here. Like so much of this book is like her trying to uncover the truth and then like problems arising from that.
Yeah, I really like that. You definitely win the song round. I'm going to win next time though.
Okay.
You just wait.
I'm
coming for you.
Coming for my throne. I'm gonna topple my empire.
That
sounds a little
empire. Wow, that's like a little
real,
sexual.
Yeah.
I'm gonna topple your empire.
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah.
Well, that's our video. What kind of YA fantasy novels do you like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'd be eager to hear. I'd say that this is a genre that we read a lot of.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe to our channel.
Like us.
Like us. Yeah, share it. Share this video.
Or else we'll come for you. We'll topple your empire.
And
we have a very exciting thing happening.
We
next
do.
time.
Oh, we have something so fun planned. Oh,
Yes.
I just can't wait. Okay,
Yeah.
so stay tuned.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a notification bell. Hit the notification bell to be reminded when we. Do you even know how to use
Look at
to
you
even
knowing what
know.
YouTube is.
Hit the notification bell so that you know when our next video debuts.
Yeah.
And then you can see the super exciting thing we're
Yeah.
doing. So yeah,
Very exciting.
stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
We love you guys.
Yeah. Mwah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I don't know what that. Bye.
Mwah.